only ever completed the raid on day one a single time. I'll get to that in a moment. But the experience in Destiny 2 of raiding is unlike anything else. With friends, it's some of the most memorable moments in all of gaming for me. I just love it. But the big problem is, that's about all they have. They do one high effort content push per year, if that, for Destiny 2, and everything else is just filler, tedious chores, or just complete and utter neglect, with a smile on their face and a middle finger to the community. It seems like most of their focus throughout the year is spent on microtransactions from their Eververse store in order to nickel and dime and shake down people for their lunch money with cosmetics, and not fixing things that need fixing, not addressing things that need addressing, not even listening to community feedback or the player base, and just going complete radio silence until here's the new expansion and you guys are gonna buy it. We know you're gonna buy it, so get ready to buy it. I hate that this is kind of what Destiny 2 has become. I want a reason to log in and play and grind. I want fun things to do in the game, but there just really isn't. Now, I have always said Destiny 2 has so much potential, the most potential out of pretty much any product on the market. And not just from the PvE standpoint, but it also does have PvP. And the PvP could be great. It could be so much better. This is Bungie we're talking about. They made Halo 1, 2, 3, and Reach some of the best fucking multiplayer games there are in the FPS genre. They could make Destiny 2's PvP an absolute fucking powerhouse of a shooter. But they don't put even a single iota of effort into it. I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm not special. A lot of the community is feeling betrayed by Bungie, even more so now than ever, thanks to their most recent post on the state of the game, where it's just such a fucking nothing burger, like a complete empty calorie sandwich that has nothing to do except just say like, hey, this game development shit's not easy, so don't expect too much, and here's our plans for the future, and it's just really underwhelming. I don't know if they're just keeping big stuff close to the chest and they don't want to reveal a lot in their state of the game post, but it's still just alarming because they don't really do a whole lot for the game throughout these seasons. For those that don't know, Destiny 2 operates on a seasonal model, so it's supposed to be getting like an influx of content at different periods throughout the year, but really the only thing that ever actually has any substance to it is when they release either a dungeon that they finally put effort into, or their new expansion with some big story moments, big story missions, and a raid. A shiny, nice new toy for everyone to play with and everyone to come together and try and tackle the hardest content Destiny offers. At least that's how it used to be. This is a controversial take in the Destiny community, but I'm just gonna say it out loud and scream it from the mountaintops. Their most recent raid in the Lightfall expansion was a joke. Root of Nightmares was a raid that me and my team completed in 5 hours, and we are a team that has literally never completed a raid on day one ever until this one. We are a team of casual players. I have probably the least amount of hours out of my group. I have close to like 1,000. Most of the others are between like 1,500 and 2,000, maybe a little bit more. But we usually never day one complete a raid, and for Root of Nightmares, one that we were so fucking excited for, we did it in 5 hours, and it just felt really deflating, because we love the challenge. Like, there's a sick joy to banging your head against a wall in a really tough encounter for 16 hours until you finally get it. That euphoric moment when everything clicks and you complete the encounter it's so triumphant, but in Root of Nightmares, it was really, like, underwhelming. It felt really half-baked. Usually in raids, each encounter is a whole different ballgame in what you have to do in order to overcome the challenge. Of course, mechanics are borrowed from previous encounters, but they're expanded. They're given more and more depth. So you'll learn a mechanic in encounter 1 of a raid, and then you'll use that mechanic in encounter 2 in a different way, in a deeper way, in a totally different application of it. In Root of Nightmares, there was really only 2 mechanics the entire raid that never really changed. It was just rinse and repeat. They just kept copy and pasting the same mechanic over and over again. It was super, like, phoned in and lazy. There's only one good encounter in Root of Nightmares, and it's encounter 3 with the planets. That is a fun one. That is what we would have expected the raid to be like, where it has these really interesting encounters that have a it's the only one. It's the exception in Root of Nightmares. Everything else is the exact same shit over and over again. It was just sad. And usually world first races last quite a long time, even for the best teams in the game. But this one was still completed in only a handful of hours. It was so fucking quick. Also, I wasn't exaggerating about the 16 hours on like a single room. When we did Deepstone Crypt Day 1 a couple years ago, we actually spent 16 hours in the second encounter until we finally got through. And it was fun. Like, we still look back on that fondly. And in Root of Nightmares, we literally took a 3-hour break. So it was 5 hours total, but the entire time was 8 hours because after the first 2 or 3 hours, we took a 3-hour break to watch the Moist Esports Valorant team play. Then we came back and then completed it in like another hour and a half, basically. It was so underwhelming compared to all of the other Day 1 raids that we have done over the years. And let's not even get started on the campaign. The Lightfall campaign was a joke. They forgot that there was supposed to be a story in the Lightfall expansion. They literally forgot the narrative. So, you know, I won't even get too deep into that. Point is, it seems the direction Destiny 2 is going is one that the community is not excited about. And it seems like it's one that's entirely either fueled by greed or laziness or a combination of the two. Because most of their effort is spent on cosmetics, it feels like. It seems like that's where most of their resources and team is allocated to, is anything like microtransaction related. At least that's how I and many others feel. And less on like actually improving the game or adding meaningful content or meaningful updates to it. It's fucking sad because this game has like the highest potential out of any product on the market in my opinion. Just straight up across the board. This game has the most fucking potential. The gunplay is extremely satisfying, the builds are extremely fun and versatile, except for Warlocks for a while. Pretty much all of us were using Starfire Protocol because, I mean, you could use it for pretty much everything. But for the most part, the builds are extremely versatile. They have their own unique niches that they can fill in raids and tough encounters, and there's just so much variety to the gameplay itself, so much depth. It's just such a beautiful game, too. Everything is so nice in Destiny and feels so fucking good. And when they actually put effort into the lore, like they did with Witch Queen expansion, the story was great, too. Obviously fumbled with Lightfall, but it has all of the building blocks of a fucking masterpiece. The only thing it's missing is a development team that cares about it. Like, it's sad. It's fucking sad. And instead of, like, putting people's mind at ease with this state of the game where it's like, look, guys, we know you've been dropping the ball, but here's what we're going to do. We're really going to put our foot on the gas pedal and go hog wild and deliver the Destiny 2 experience that you guys really want. Instead of doing that, they instead release, like, the worst...
daming steps ng recipe.
When you get your next big idea, say sparkly ketchup, Grammarly's tone suggestions can help pitch it with confidence to get your team on board.
Did you see her email?
Already calling vendors.
Oh no, a project hiccup.
We need a squeezy bottle.
Good idea. With a more diplomatic approach, your request will get a better response. Problem.
I'm sure most of you have heard of the carnivore diet by now. It's not exactly so much a diet anymore as it is just a full-blown personality that people adopt, a full lifestyle now where their whole identity is, I only eat meat. And oftentimes it consists of consuming a lot of raw meat. And I've always just been fascinated by this raw meat eating community because I just don't get how they're not, like, plagued by trichinosis and infested with countless tapeworms, like an absolute nightclub of tapeworms in their gut. Because for me, if I eat a potato chip that's one day past the sell-by date, I get sick. Like, I get an herpes stomach. But meanwhile, they're out there consuming